know that we had our baseline visit. The young lady's name was Cheryl Burns from Dania. She came out on the 29th and was here for 2 days and visited some of our early Head Start partnership sites. As part of that visit, we also had an interview on the 29th conducted by Ms. Burns, and we also had an URSIA and fiscal interview that was conducted virtually by Kevin Mott. And for those of you who might remember his name, he was part of our triannual team when Daniel was here a couple of years ago for our review. And I know many of you were on that call and were able to listen to the interview and got an idea as far as the questions and how those interviews are going to go when we have our, not a baseline review, but part of our actual monitoring review. So how many sites? We had 21 sites that were identified and were going to be ready to be seen. 18 of them were family child care homes, and 3 of them were center sites, partner sites. How should I put this? Thank God we live in a city with traffic. Not just traffic, but rush hour traffic too. So the way things turned out, the reviewer only made it to, how many? This was 2 sites the first day.
2, yeah, 2 the first day and 4 the second day.
So a total of 6 sites she got to out of the 21. I want to thank everyone for being ready. All 21, again, thank you very much. And the 6 that she got to did very well. So we were very, very pleased. Remember, this is a baseline visit. Things were not supposed to be perfect. It was different than a review visit. And the nice thing about it was that the places that she went to and the things that she found wrong, people were able to say, we've ordered that, or we've looked at that, or we're getting ready to do that. So again, thank you very much. Gave us a real feel for the things she's going to be, that the team will be looking for when we have our review. The other reason why I wanted to spend a little time talking about this today is we do not have a date for our monitoring visit for the first year of our 5-year grant. But we do know that it will be a health and safety visit, and it will be URSIA and fiscal. So the 2 that we have for baseline will be the 2 that we will have for our first year of our 5-year, which means that that team will go to every site, and it gave us a good view of how they will be approaching it. So the team, our folks walked around and took copious notes as far as what did she look at, what did she talk about, what were the questions that she really hammered in on, so it gives us a place to make sure that we've shored those things up before they get here. And I think that they will be here earlier in the school year than what we've had before, just because they didn't go to that many sites. Anybody else want to?
Just a thank you to the delegate agency managers and some of the directors that were also on those visits. They really helped to do an outstanding job.
So, round of applause. Yay! So that's a good thing. One of the other things that we had planned as far as the Early Head Start Childhood CCAP partnerships was that we know that we're doing a research piece. We've taken ITERs and ECHRs, and we're doing all of this database piece up front, stickers, and we will be tracking the progress from that baseline that we've taken to where we will be in that 18-month period, so we can see the kind of progress that we had. People were so impressed by the kinds of responses that our participants gave out in the field, your providers and your staff, to the answers and the way that they handled themselves we really thought that we might try to add a video component. So we'll give you a few more highlights and we may make our own little documentary because people were really, really articulate. They were really good, and we were just very proud of the kinds of responses they gave. So we'll give you more on that later. I think that was everything that we had. I'm looking at my little list. It went well. Expect a real monitoring sooner than later. Thank everyone. You were super. And maybe a video project. And the call went well, too. Those were all the points we wanted to cover under that. Okay. Any questions?
If you have any questions, just go ahead and type it in. I'll go ahead and read it out loud, or if I think your mic and speakers are working, or if you call in on your telephone, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll unmute you, and you can go ahead and ask your question. But until then, I guess we'll move on to the next topic.
Okay, the next topic is kind of serious, well, more than kind of serious. The next topic is about safety issues. The last 6 months, I would say, we have had more incidents of safety than we have had in years. And they're very, very serious. And so we wanted to take some time to let you know the plans that we have in place to move forward with addressing those safety issues, and to give you an idea, because I think that we don't think that it's going to be us. You know, that's somebody else. That's not my agency. But the feedback that we're getting from people out in the field is that there is a lot of people are becoming more lax, and just some things that are happening, taking children out of the side door instead of out of the front door when they're going outside for their walk. You want to go out the front door so that people know that you're leaving, they know where you've gone to, and you're running the regular routine. We have children who've been left on playgrounds, children who were playing hide and seek, and when the team got ready to take children back, the child was still hiding. This is an actual news story that is about a child who is at one of our partner sites. It wasn't a Head Start child, so we didn't end up in DRS. It's a very dangerous situation, and it was carried on Univision, so it's in Spanish, and but you'll get the gist of it. Victor, maybe you can. An exclusive story. Go ahead, Matt.
It's kind of low. I can't hear what I'm saying.
Sin embargo, la experiencia de Ricardo marca difíciles de borrar en la madre de la niña, que ahora ya no confía en nadie.
The mother doesn't trust anybody after this incident.
Sensación que durante un rato le fue totalmente ajena el pasado lunes, mientras la pequeña debía estar bajo la protección y el cuidado de las maestras de la guardería North Star Child Development. Fue una llamada telefónica la que tornó el día en noche.
Me dijo que no podían encontrar a mi niña, que estaba perdida.
Jessie y su grupo habían participado en una clase de gimnasia que se dio
and told that they couldn't find her daughter.
Fue en ese lugar que la niña se separó de sus compañeros sin que aparentemente nadie se diera cuenta.
Me dejó al baño.
¿Me dejó en el baño del gym? ¿Y te asustaste cuando te quedaste sola? Claro, nadie se lo imaginaba, pero Jessie tenía
The teacher left her alone in the bathroom.
Salió del edificio, cruzó la calle y caminó la media cuadra que separa la guardería del hogar maternal. Y una vez allí, se metió a la casa por la ventana.
Yeah, that's how she, yeah.
Presuntamente debieron pasar 45
She went to her grandma's house.
La autoridad de la guardería se comunicara con Maribel para contarle de la situación. Su abogado, David Gallagher, dice que el aparente grado de negligencia.
Notice the law group and symbol on the gentleman's shirt.
A niños y familias de Illinois.
Law group.
Sino también merece una compensación a través de la justicia civil. Todo luce como que hubo un grosero error, sostiene el abogado de Maribel. Y en el fuero civil pueden ser penalizados por quebrantar el acuerdo firmado con los padres confían a sus hijos. Mientras tanto, Maribel se aferra a su pequeña con alma y vida. Dice que desde ahora será mucho más difícil confiarle su seguridad a un extraño.
Obviamente tengo que...
Essentially, the lawyer said that the center broke the trust between the parent and the center. So that trust has been broken. And the parent goes on to talk about how they feel that they do not trust the center anymore.
Okay. I know that because it was in Spanish, it was hard for people to follow along, at least some folks. But the bottom line is the child was in the bathroom. The center teachers took the child, went out to the playground. They left the child in the bathroom. They did a head count. They did their head count, but there was some confusion because before they had left, children had been dropped off. So they had counted 5. They should have counted 6, but they had 5 in the morning, and they had 5 when they left because a new child came in. They went to the playground, and the child came out of the bathroom, saw classroom was gone, teacher was gone, and very independent little girl, as you saw, she walked out the front door and crossed that street. Please see that intersection. She crossed that intersection, went to her grandma's house, and climbed in that window. Anything could have happened to that child. And I understand, we all understand that the teacher said that they counted, and they knew they had this many children when they left. But that child could have been killed. We had another recent incident where a child they went to the playground, they counted heads, a child was playing hide and go seek. He was hiding when the team got ready to bring the kids back. They came back to the center. The child was left behind. They didn't know the child was gone. That child looked around, again, came out from his hiding place and said, oh, everybody's gone, and starts wandering around to find his way back to school. He found a very nice man on the street who gave him candy. He gave him, you understand what I'm saying? He gave him candy. Thank God that's all he did. Someone from the park district saw the child, figured out what center they were from because they knew there was a center down the street, took the child to the center. But until that child showed up, they had no idea that child was missing. And he reaches in his pocket and shows them the candy that the nice man gave him. So I know I'm getting a little emotional about this, but guys, this is no joke. And the more feedback that we get, that we've got lots of little pieces. Victor, pull my little thing up again. One really horrible thing that happened is that we had an incident, I think all of us remember at Easter Seals, where that child, that gentleman is dealing with criminal charges. But that was 2 girls under the age of 3. Under the age of 3. And the reason was he was left alone in the room. Understand it was nap time. Understand it wasn't Head Start time. It doesn't matter. You never leave anyone alone with children. You always have to have 2 people for your own sake and for the safety of the children. It's just, this is somebody everybody works with, you know, nice guy, but we have the responsibility of these children, and so that's why we are really like a little crazed about the slipping of protocols that we're seeing as we're going around. We watched somebody go to a park that was on the police watch list, that there had been shootings, etc. There was a lot of gang activity, and the teacher took the class to that playground. That's just common sense. So we're going to do something. before something really, really bad happens. So we want to help people remember. The team has been working on some materials. We're going to buy some walking ropes that will help people count with kids. We've got some techniques that we're going to be rolling out, and in about 2 weeks, before 2 weeks is over, before school starts, we will be doing a blitz to every single classroom. Every teacher will be talked to on a one-on-one. It's not going to take a long time. We aren't looking for you to dismiss classes or anything, but they will come to the classroom. The maximum amount of time they'll be spending with your teachers will probably be about 10 minutes, but we want to make sure that that message gets hammered in. Here's your booklet. This is what we're talking about. These are the techniques that you need to make sure that you practice. Here are some things for your center. And just like recruitment, safety is everybody's business. And the other thing we're going to hammer home is get nosy. Be rude and get nosy. Somebody comes back, did you count your kids? How many did you have when you left? How many you got now? Don't worry about insulting somebody. And, you know, call them on it. If they're busy looking at their phone, you know, you got babies. They're wandering around. Do it, because the last thing you want to do is be the person who didn't do it and have a child who meets a man with candy who's not just going to give him candy. That's what you don't want to be, that person. So anyhow, I'm sorry, but I'm just like too through. Okay, questions?
I don't know if you want to mention the question that Cheryl had about the policies regarding
release schedules too. We've got a decent policy in place. We have it in COPA, but we want to make sure that people are using it, because same kind of thing. Mom and daddy get into a fight, and you know, or somebody else shows up, and just because the child knows TT Paulette or TT Foodie doesn't mean that either one of you has permission to take that child off the site.
Can I add something to that? I think there were, this is Paulette speaking.
Hey, there they are.
They're looking for your written policies and procedures around pickup and release of children. So I know most people follow the licensing standards. If that's what you follow, just say that's what you follow, somewhere, and we will follow up more on that.
And I agree. That's a good thing. I really don't care at this particular point. What I care about is for everybody to do it. I mean, this conversation is about, y'all got lots of beautiful written policies, and half you ain't following half of them, because those teachers knew what they were supposed to do. It's in writing somewhere. That's why we need to come back and tap people on the shoulders and remind them. So that I'm not minimizing that. Yeah, and the feds are looking for written. What we're talking about is we're going to come out, and so we have to do it. Okay.
I truly understand the importance, but can you please elaborate on the having two teachers with a child at all times comment?
Because one of the first things I'm going to say when somebody comes to me and says, this child was molested, if there are two people in the classroom, it makes it much more difficult for something like that to happen. If I am alone with children and I get that report, it becomes an entirely different conversation. It allows people to have much more access, and so that's one of the things. Besides it simply being a safety issue, you know, something, if you have to take care of a kid that falls or whatever, but God forbid you have someone who wants to do something to a child, and they're left alone with them.
And I just want to elaborate a little bit about that. I think classrooms are typically the first thing we think of. But when we say safety, we're thinking global, on the buses, all right, on the playground, walking to the park, on field trips. Safety is everywhere.
Amen.
Okay.
Funa, you want to say something?
I know we can talk about this for the next
We can't.
Stay, but let's try and move on.
Okay, sorry about, I get all excited. So, as I said, the Blitz visits, you'll be getting notification about when they'll start, and we will try to be as unintrusive as we can, but we will be inserting ourselves into your classrooms. The next EDPD meeting
August 21st.
is August the 21st. It's going to be at King. It will be a little extended meeting because the last time we met, I promised people food. So we will have, we'll be serving lunch that day, and over lunch we hope to be able to have just some opportunities for people to chat and to, to do some networking, ask questions, some of the things that we're usually rushed with at the end of the meeting. So if we plan this time around that just plan to spend some extra time so that, again, you can have lunch with us, harass anybody that you want to, and get a chance to exchange information among yourselves. I'd say at least look at being able to stay until probably 2 in the afternoon, but it will be up to you. It's not a mandatory piece, but it will be, we're planning it as an extended meeting. We'll get a menu to you before. Is that what you wanted to know, B, what we're going to eat?
I wanted to ask if maybe they could dress comfortably.
Yeah. If the weather's nice, you'll be able to set out outside. So definitely dress comfortably. And no, not bathing suits. With EDPD, executive director, program director meetings, but they're also attended by other managers. Okay.
I want to know.
We'll make sure that we'll make sure that we get the menu out to people beforehand. So if it's something that you need to pack your own for, you can.
Oh, because I was going to say you're not going to be catering to all tastes.
Not all tastes, but we'll try to come up with something that will be universal for everyone. Okay, so that meeting is coming up. Next thing I have on my list, and I see Suni is here too, we want to talk about, should I skip and deal with the money now?
Just talk about money, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about money. On the depressing side of money, let's go ahead and get that. Everyone knows that we are dealing with the 50% income eligibility for any new CCAP applicants. Nothing that we can do about that. We want to make sure that you take everyone's application in so that we are able to track how many denials we have, which is what Action and other advocates have been asking us for. We want to emphasize, if you have early Head Start children or Head Start children, you can't drop them. We have been working on our side to find ways of assuring that you can keep those children in programming. Remember, it's against our rules to supplant or to replace funding that's not, I can't say the state didn't give you $50, I'm going to give you $50 to replace that. I can't do that. But what we can say is that if you have expenses, that those expenses can be sent to us, and we can look at that and see about giving you a supplemental to handle expenses that are needed to care for those children. Does that make sense to people? We will be working with Funi and with Madeline and Victor, and we are also going to bring in some other folks to help us so that we can keep up on the supplementals, and because there are some fine pieces that have to be worked out. I think many of you know, if you're Head Start, we can only use Head Start money to support that. If you're Early Head Start, only Early Head Start money. We are going to be using some of the RTL money or the corporate dollars from the mayor to also assist in this, which will give us a little bit more flexibility. So those are the things that we are trying to put in place, that we are putting in place in order to shore up as best we can this crisis. Right?
Yeah.
I know that Funi's going to talk, and I know that Matt and everybody else needs to fill in on all of the other kinds of dollar issues that we have.
This is Suni, and I want to talk about the grant application that you just submitted, or you are going to submit it for the next 6 months. In there, the Fed also asked you to set aside an amount to subsidize for your partners if they lost the eligibility for the children. For example, if you have a contract with a partner for 10 slots, 4 of them is qualified was eligible for child care, and later their eligible ended gone, then you need to, and the partner will need some money to cover for the expenses. You need to set aside some money to, in that case, to cover for the expenses. And if you need it, then you can ask for supplemental, but it has to be planned ahead. For the child care partnership revenue, please make sure that your partner or yourself to redeem on time. Don't let the 30 days lapse, because when it lapses, then you have to go into a new application and you have to go under the new rules, which is you may not qualify.
Yay! Nan, do you want to talk about supplemental?
Well, there's really nothing to say. You said it all. We're looking at classifying what funding we're going to use for some of the supplementals that have been submitted. A lot of them need to be worded differently, and I'm going to be calling, so I have a little stack. Many of you will be called if there are changes that need to be completed on the supplemental. If you are still planning on submitting a supplemental, please make sure that you're submitting the supplemental for the funding source that you have. So if it's for ABC site and you only have Head Start there, I'd like it separate. I'd rather have separate supplementals for each site that are cost allocated, because this is what Funi is going to ask me when we do our executive approval. We need to separate, and we need to put a percentage of, if you have 20 early Head Start children at that site and 70 Head Start, then how am I going to divide this cost for this request? It may be a straightforward request. If it's for just your 5 Head Start classrooms, then that's supplemental, even though you have early children at that location. We know that it's just Head Start dollars being used. But it's a little tricky. So, you know, if you have questions, I know that I've been getting some emails on where your supplementals are, and I will be more than likely starting next week calling, because there are some questions and some revisions that are needed. But yeah, and Funi wants to say something about supplementals.
I want to say something too. For example, if your site has Head Start children, early Head Start children, child care only children, or private pay children, you should also cost allocate the supplemental fund, because the federal, they don't want to pay for everything if you have child care only and private pay children.
Okay. I do want to get to the polls that that we've created for this question, and so I'll go ahead and take a second to the poll. Each time we have a webinar, Vanessa wants to see your faces. And so I know this conversation that we've had about supplementals is not anything new. We've done it trying to figure out this thing for the last year or so. And we want to see if you have any different ideas too about which ways we can help you. But in order to do that, we got to turn your camera on, okay? One thing I do want to caution you, and I think that Funi tried to mention it right now, is that what we do want to stay away from is ideas around straight cost per child. This is something that we just cannot do. You can't, if you lose a kid, you can't say, well, just give me this certain amount for this kid just because I lose him. It doesn't work that way. So that if you want to turn the camera and say that, just avoid that, okay? So while we take this poll, go ahead, and we want to hear your ideas because, you know, like Vanessa says, we're all in this together. Okay, so this poll is about your sense of how the new eligibility rules in child care you think might impact you. If you have an idea, go ahead and answer it. If you don't, there is an answer for that too, okay? So I guess we can still keep. So go ahead and answer that poll and
While you're taking the poll, just so you know, Paulette thinks that some of you have lost your mind and might start charging for Head Start services. And I'm sure that nobody out there is that crazy that you would ever think of charging for any Head Start services. But that's what she said. See, I have a little note that she has passed to me that says, talk about fees. And I keep saying, they're not that crazy.
Yeah, I've heard it. Well, I think another way to put it is to make sure that your policies for any other program other than Head Start or early Head Start, right, that you don't talk about fees for those programs. Right. They can charge the child care fees.
Their fees, their fees, yeah.
Formulas.
Or it's their copay. It's their copay. But, you know.
But you cannot charge to make up
the difference, right?
The difference.
That's right.
That's what I want to do.
How's our poll looking, Victor?
okay, so if you got a vote, we got the last 10 seconds. It looks like the majority of folks are voting that it's not bad, it's not good, but we have a plan to manage. Followed by it's bad and getting worse by the day. Followed by we don't know yet. There is a couple of votes for if this goes on any longer, I will have to close my doors, and we also have a few that they don't feel it would impact us for a while. So the majority, you know, more than half, about half of the folks feel it's not good, but they do have a plan to manage.
It looks like half of them have voted. I don't know how long you keep the poll open, Victor, because we do want to be able to share these results with powers that be so that they also have a good idea about where we are so that we can budget.
A lot of these folks are our staff, so they won't.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. That was, I'm glad that, and you're going to share the results on that, Victor? Does that show up somewhere?
Yeah, I can share. I went ahead and shared it with everybody.
Okay. Thank you. That was great. Well, not great, but I'm glad that we got a chance to hear what you had to say. Are we looking for people who want to talk to us about any ideas?
Well, if you want to talk to us, go ahead and raise your hand, and we will go ahead and put you on screen.
That may change their mind.
No beautiful faces went to...
Not yet. We have, well, I guess everyone's camera shy, but
okay.
I thought the lure of money may change some minds, but I guess not.
Okay, well, we'll keep going down our little agenda. We've talked about most of the money issues. If somebody brings up something else, we'll be glad to circle back around. The other thing that we wanted to talk about quickly was that the recruitment, clearly...
Wait, your RTL.
RTL. Oh, that's right. We didn't talk about RTL specifically. Those of you who have children who are currently in RTL and your contracts have run out, please don't drop those children. Don't enroll any new children in RTL, but those RTL children that you currently have, keep them. The reason is that as we're looking at these supplementals and how we're going to be rearranging these dollars to support you, RTL children will be included. For those of you who don't know what RTL is, it's the Ready to Learn children from the Mayor's Corporate Fund. And those are the birth to 3 children that we have been supporting for the last couple of years. At one point we had around 900 plus children in Ready to Learn. But as the children have aged out, remember this is a birth to 3, as those children have turned 4, we've been dropping them off the roll. Those of you who still have children who are under 3 and are RTL children, we're just telling you, don't worry. Even though your contract's up, we will be looking at these additional dollars and taking that RTL carryover dollar in order to ensure that you're able to continue with those children. Is that the right answer, Victor?
You got it for today.
For today. And speaking of for today, shall I go into the mayor's?
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about the mayor's money. We're talking about the mayor's program and the city of Chicago. And I think you know that there's been a big commitment to Ready to Learn and to early learning. We have had challenges with recruitment and enrollment. Our original plan was that we were going to convert this year, which we thought would lighten that burden. As you know, we've delayed that. So that means that we have 16,808 Head Start children to enroll. About just under 9,000 of those children are generally in collaboration slots. We know that this is causing you great angst because you don't know what's happening with child care. And so those full-day slots are financed partially by CCAP. You've been a little reluctant. We still have to make our numbers, or we will jeopardize the Head Start dollar that we have. That's the reason why we're looking at using those supplementals in a way that's going to help shore that up. Please, please, please push your enrollment, get those kids enrolled, and we will make sure that they get served. There'll be Head Start children. We'll make sure if they need a full day, we will work with you on doing that. Get those kids enrolled. And because the mayor's office is so interested, that's a good way of putting it, Victor, interested in what's going on, we are providing them with a weekly to daily update on where we are with recruitment as far as the numbers. To that end, Victor and Craig have been working on how we're going to track that in COPA. But it is a report that, like I said, we'll be creating, getting to the mayor's office, and because of his interest in this, it means that he will be looking at where your numbers are, and I understand that this is happening, that he is doing this personally. Yes, this is like the thing. And so he's looking at your numbers. He is asking questions about various agencies and where you are with your recruitment and your numbers. And I assume that's going to keep going until we come up with all of our numbers.
Right.
And so that's one of the reasons why we need to make sure that we have a mechanism for getting that information when people call up and say we want it and we want it now. That kind of?
Yep, perfect.
So are you going to say something about how that's going to happen or what's coming up about that?
Yeah, B is going to go first.
Okay.
Well, we think we have a mechanism for working it out now. You all remember you should have received an email from us on June 18th that supplied 2 grids. One of the grids for, and Victor, if you have it, bring it up. One of the grids is for early, and the other grid is for Head Start. And you know, this week alone, even with the baseline assessment, I have been reaching out to some of you because for the last 4 reporting periods, and we report weekly, every Tuesday, there are some agencies that we have not received numbers for. And I think I've figured out why. I don't think everybody's in the CSD info email, but we're working on that. Nevertheless, make sure you send these grids in every Tuesday by noon, because this is one of the ways that we know what your recruiting numbers are. Now, when Craig and Victor and I met a little while ago, we figured out some ways that we're able to map from COPA and pull some of the numbers that the mayor will need. But it's crucial that you get these grids in.
Okay, great. Yeah, we talked about the conversation we just had and about the data that we put in COPA, and what we really want to concentrate on a couple of columns here, and that is the number of recruited new children in COPA from the recruitment module, and the number of children. Craig's gonna, in a little bit, Craig's gonna show us how we pull these numbers in COPA, and we show you how to get there. But during the last EDPD meeting, we went and we showed you the our new recruitment module in COPA. It is live now, and you can go ahead and the public or you yourself, if you recruited some kids, and go ahead and put them into the recruitment module, and that will make your application process in COPA that much easier. We do have a couple of questions before we go ahead and turn it over to Craig. If families are over income slightly, when are you approving those families? I think that we want to go ahead and get all our eligible families in before we start the conversation about the over income ones. But as you remember, you can go up to 10% of your over income of your slots that are that you've enrolled. Is the mayor going to report numbers to the governor to put pressure on the child care priority?
Yes.
Yes. Can you please make sure that the support service coordinators are forwarding them to you? We don't like to bring on the tardy for the party list. Okay, you got it. Hello everyone. For the EHS's grid that was emailed to Shining Star News, only Site 2 is included in the grid. Okay, we will fix it. Okay, so we want to stress the importance of getting that information into COPA, making sure it is accurate, making sure that you are, updating your wait list on a regular basis. And we also want to announce that we will have a webinar next week, next Thursday actually, at 1 o'clock, just to talk about. Oh, hi there. Thank you, Paulette. We'll have a webinar next week to go ahead to do more in depth. I know Craig's going to go over it a little bit, and we are limited in the time that we have today, but we will go very in depth next week, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions for us. So I will.
And one more thing, Victor, before we go.
I will
recruitment materials.
Yeah, recruitment materials are coming out next week. The banners will be similar to the ones that we used last year. They'll be nice, new, and shiny. We'll get double the amount of cards, postcards that we had. It'll have the same design. And we're also going to put mock or just a standard of our new flyers on COPA, so you'll go ahead and download them and use them and be able to put your information on them, so you can go ahead and download them, copy them, put your information on them, make tons of copies, and use them. But I really like our new flyer design. It was redesigned by our friends at Ideas 41 with the mayor's office, and they went ahead and put some new interesting twists on our flyer design, which is really cool and exciting. And then I'll turn it over to Craig, and he'll show you real quickly what we're talking about as far as getting into that recruitment module. Remember, we'll have a more in-depth training next week.
Yeah, we'll have a schedule of something next week to show you how this works in a little more detail. But I have a feeling most of you will use.
Yeah, we know some of you have already started using the recruitment module and started putting in kids in. Pretty straightforward.
In there, I would say it's about half and half. Okay.
And again, if you've used it and you found things that, remember this is a pilot that we're using, and we're trying to improve it as we go along. So if there's anything that you see that we think we can get better at, go ahead and send that info to me or Craig, and we'll go ahead and definitely look into it.
So those of you that use COPA already will recognize the enrollment module when you're going to put somebody in, putting them on the waiting list. Of course, you would go through the application. You start an application, and here you put all of the person's information to put them on the waiting list. The hold up for that, of course, is that in order to put somebody on the waiting list, you have to have complete information on the family member's age, address, what program you want them to be part of, and there are a whole bunch of required fields. So if you don't have complete information, you can't place them on the waiting list, and you'll get kicked out of the system. So the only thing that's different with the recruitment module is you don't have to complete the application. Otherwise, you click on where you see what I did, where it says recruitment, rather than where it says eligibility application. They're right next to each other. When you get to the recruitment module, you pick your agency and put in your own, the parent's information first. How little I can get away with here to prove my point. Don't know that yet. I don't know this yet. Don't know because the points are on the phone. I don't know. Have to. I don't know. Can I save it yet? I do need to know where they're in, what site they're waiting for. And a phone, so it's not. And that's it. So then I can move on without having put the other information there. I just have their name, date of birth, and contact information, so we can call them back and get more information. This should be enough to place them on the recruitment list. It lets me take this information, but again, I don't have it right now because I just spoke to them briefly on the phone. So I'm going to go. All right. 1, 2, 3.
While Craig's doing that, I want to also mention that our friends at Kofi are also doing this on their end too. So whenever they recruit or refer a family, they'll go ahead and enter it directly into here, and it will pop up on the recruitment list. We'll go ahead and get more in detail next week about go ahead and going in there and checking this list. Probably on a daily basis, and once we get closer to enrollment, maybe on an hourly basis.
So I put them in. So we have our FSS site. These are our fake sites, as you can see, I put in Joe Smith. He's not ready to be on the waiting list because all of this information is missing mandatory fields, but we have them on the head count already, and so we can then look in there and get a count to see how many people have contacted us wanting to enroll, give us some idea about the recruitment. So let me see.
So we don't need to sit on this information. When we get it, we need to act on it right away.
Yeah, so for those of you who are at Fiesta del Sol this weekend and recruiting all those families, we want to put in the recruitment module when you get back to work on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty much it for today.
We have announcements. We have a few more things.
Well, for us.
Oh, for Victor and Craig. Okay.
Okay, so Fooney has an announcement.
All right, Fooney.
Hi, this is Fumi again. I just want to share with you all that the Child Care 15 grants were finalized yesterday. The final billing was emailed to the state at 10:30 p.m. and I dropped them off at the FedEx office at 11 p.m. So we made it. We barely made it. We didn't miss the deadline at 12 p.m. Right. 12 a.m.
Yeah.
Another thing is the total money that we set aside for a delegate agency was $23 million, but the billing amount total is only under $19 million. So we have more than $7 million that we didn't utilize. So recruit.
Okay, great.
Okay, that's it for me.
Yeah.
Okay, just a couple of announcements. Head Start 101 is next week, so if you have any new staff, please remember to sign them up. It's going to be here at 16:15, and we're doing the whole week, Monday through Friday. If there are any questions about that, you can send us a question. We also, just a reminder about the parent conference. We're having the parent conference. It's a citywide conference all about the base. You get all excited with that. The forum, it's a parent meeting, is going to be held on the 28th at McCormick, and on the 29th, it's a Saturday. It's going to be a full day. And so we are really targeting 15 to 2,000 parents, and so we're hoping that every delegate agency can at least recruit 7, enroll. I mean,
and I know we're trying to get out of here, but I want to say this parent conference, it is important for us to get those numbers there. The work that we do is about our families. And right now, there are a lot of bad things that are happening to these families. We need to be able to show that our families and that our parents are involved, that they're aware of issues, that they are there and they can show up and really have an opportunity to learn some things, but also show that there is power and that they understand advocacy and that these are their children and they are willing to have a strong and unified voice for their children. And I think that right now it is critical. If we didn't do it before, guys, we really need to do it now. So that's, and besides, it's going to be fun.
it is.
What else do we have?
The other announcement.
Region 5.
Region 5 conference is coming up, which will be in October. We have CDA.
The registration for the partnership is tomorrow. I know you've been working with Anya, and so we'll be all ready for you between 9 and 12 tomorrow to get your staff and encourage them to get here tomorrow so we can collect that documentation for them to be on their way to registering for the CBA.
We have 2 other big events that are coming up. well, 3 actually. Our faith-based week, which is going to be opportunity for us to reach out to the faith-based community in order to help with recruitment and get our families enrolled and also support those families' advocacy. And we have then our Head Start week, which will be targeting all of our public institutions, making sure that we're out there at City Hall, the WIC offices, and thousands of other fabulous activities to make sure that we are in front of the public and recruiting and letting our voice be heard. And, of course, the Bud Billiken Parade, which we will be dancing in. Anything else that we have as far as upcoming that I need to, before we sign up? Okay.
Adore.
Oh, Adore is coming up. And I know that Denise had talked about that. But again, we'll make sure that you get all the rest of these things in writing. This webinar will be posted. It's just an update. We'll look forward to seeing everybody at the EDPD meeting. And
New commissioner.
oh, that's right. We have a new commissioner, and she starts on Monday. And her name is Lisa. I keep doing that. Lisa Morrison Butler. And we will send, I don't know if you got.
I have the press release. We can forward that out.
Victor will be forwarding the press release about her. We're looking forward to her. Evelyn Diaz, our ex-commissioner, her final day was yesterday, and she's going to be at Heartland Alliance. And so that's a great opportunity for her. We're sorry to see her go, and we appreciate everything that she's done for us, and wish her well on her next adventure, which sounds pretty spectacular. But we're also happy and very excited about welcoming Lisa Butler, and I think that you'll get a chance to meet her soon, I think, and we're moving forward. So again, thank you very much. It is 3:31.
Hey.
Yay! Okay, thanks everybody. Bye. Challenging and thanks. Yeah, thanks for your support.